Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Brian, and today we're going to be covering the Insect Queen Devora. Now, I was tempted to actually do a guest character in this video because, well, I've been bit by the Joker bug, which is a bit of a problem because I don't usually like the Joker. But there are instances where I look at him and go, yeah, you're a fun character in this game, which sucks because I hate you as a character. But we're not going to be talking about this clown today or for a little while yet, because Devora is character number 10 out of 33. So we're not even technically a third of the way through the roster yet. But regardless, the Bug Lady is ready. And I don't believe I have any of her tournament variations built, so we're going to have to use the tournament variations that way. And for a preview, for a character preview, let's do Aaron Black as our next character after Devora. And we're going to go to her stage because it only makes all the sense in the world. Not been here yet, so we're also going to be covering interactables on this stage in this video. Just to get those out of the way, but those will be at the very end because you guys probably want character stuff. So, we're going to start with Tournament Variation 1 and go over, as usual, any normals that don't go into combos, then strings, then special moves, and then the variation stuff. So, let's see here. Low Sting, Swatted, Larva Tarsus, Low Tarsus, Cocoon Kick, Spinning Web, Rude Slam, Slight Sting. And as always, I need to make sure Easy Crushing Blows are on and frame data is on for both of us. So, Low Sting, 8-frame poke, very good, has decent range too because of that little extra spike. Look, it's not quite started the round, it's pretty close. Look at this. Look at this range. This is a pretty good. Ooh, we'll talk about that later. See that? That's the maximum range. It's pretty solid. And on block, it's -6. So it's actually not that. If you block it, you kind of get your turn back, but at the same time, Devora is not unsafe. So only Raijin would actually be able to actively punish this. Swatted is her uppercut. Look at how good this is as an anti-air. Because she crouches and then stabs upwards with her limbs, you're almost certainly not going to be able to use any aerial attacks. She'll just anti-air you. She'll just anti-air you for days with this thing. It's just a little bit tricky to get the double uppercut off on this, but you absolutely can still. Larva Tarsus is a high boot of 11 frames. It's 42 frames on knockdown, so if you were to knock this down to anti-air, you can move in, but it's +1 on block as well. But remember, this is just a straight up high, so you can just duck this for days. And the uppercut itself is -11, but check out that push back. Nobody's going to be punishing that. Low Tarsus Strike is a really good down 3. Look at the range it has there. It's -6, sure, and 9 frames, but this is a good check because look at how far she leans back too to hit you with that. It's not bad. Cocoon Kick is your high damage extender. I use this quite a bit in certain variations whenever I play Devora, which is not all that often, but boot, that's 70 damage, not bad. And then on block, it's only -4. As far as I know, I'm only going to... by the way, the thing about flawless blocks too is that I'm only going to be doing flawless blocks to test strengths now, because it seems a bit redundant to be doing them on normals when, in my current experience, most of the normals don't seem that much affecting. Spinning Web. They're sweet. Look at that range. Almost started the round. Not quite. Hits you with this, knocks you down. It's -11, but again, maximum range, you're not punishing this thing. If she was super close, you probably could, but I wouldn't count on that. Brood Slam is a big walloping overhead, 21 frames. is minus 16 though, so if she throws us out in the neutral, and there's next to no pushback, your Devora is eating a crushing blow right there. And then slight sting. Look at that though. It's almost start of the round. It's almost as good as Robocop's. It's only slightly worse than Robocop's. And then on block, what's that? It's minus 9. But again, with all of that range, if used smartly, you're not punishing this thing. On to part 2. For hop attacks, we haven't done jumping attacks. Probably should have. Maybe I'll do like a special on jumping attacks just to catch up. Swarm Burst, Quick Strike, and then her throws. And then that's it, yeah. Is this the variation that has it? No. This variation does not have it. So, Piercing Ovipositors is short hop number 1. Minus 18 on block. Decent range, knocks him down, 12 frames. Hardened Heal is 14 frames, but has a tricky little flip in there. So she stays in the air a little bit longer than you might expect. So expect her to kind of do this, and then if you expect to catch her, she might catch you. Swarm Burst only happens on knockdown, so that's her wake up launcher. And yeah, this thing has really good range. I should probably mention this. Look at that range. That is ridiculous. I almost punished him for doing that again. Look at that. I punished him for doing standing 4. Here, how about this? Let's be cheeky and do this. So, we're going to be cheeky and have him do that. Almost. So, at almost any time, you can bag somebody for this. So, I'm going to try this again. Probably with a forward dash instead. Oh! That is deceptive! So the opponent actually has to be a little bit closer. Yeah, the opponent has to be a little bit closer than I had initially expected, but that's still a really good up 2. Like, that's almost one that I would throw out on knockdown, just because it's like a pseudo projectile. And if it actually hit up until the bug touches the ground, it would be, as far as range goes, the best up 2 in the game. And then Quick Strike is what you would expect. It's a invincible wake up, it's quick, whap, get them off me, that kind of thing. Next, we need to talk about throws. And her back throw is not unremarkable. Or it's not remarkable, it's just a quick stiffy stab, get them back, doesn't have a crushing blow. While the toward throw does have a crushing blow. But only in one variation because the opponent needs to be infected with fireflies. We'll talk about that later. But that's kind of what it looks like. Now on to combo attacks. And those are unique, so I'm going to have to skip those. Looking out. Kibi, Nomia. So these are all of her universal strings in all 3 variations. She'll always have these. Black Widow knocks the opponent down and back with is plus 46 on hit, allowing Deborah to kind of dash in. If fully blocked, she's plus 1. If stopped early, she is minus 4. So, if the opponent thinks, oh, I'm going to try and save myself and do that, and doesn't realize that just committing to the string is better, then there you go. However, there is a flawless blockable gap in there that makes it minus 9, allowing Aaron Black over here to punish it no problem. So that's the trouble there. That's the trouble, but if you know they don't have meter, or they can't flawless block, or they don't flawless block because it's online, this would be a good way to keep yourself plus. Botfly comes off of this really good early start of the round high that does decent damage. Restands the opponent so it isn't breakawayable, and allows you to get combos. And that's just a super baby basic example, like I usually do, just as a proof of concept. The first hit is -5. The full thing is -6, and there's no flawless blockable gap. But just throwing this out there, still -5, still punishable. Wandering Spider. Oh, that's horrifying. Almost as horrifying as the botfly thing. Comes off of this fairly quick high, and then this little belch attack. However, you have to dial in the last few hits. But unfortunately, it's not special cancelable. So you either commit to this thing or special cancel on the puke or you're toast. As for frame data, standing 2 is -3. -6 with the puke. Decent shit, but -6, so Raijin can punish this, and she loses her turn. No flawless block gap, and no frame data change as expected. Hello, cat. Bugging out. This is her old. This is. I say old. She's had this for about 5 years now. This string. 4-2-2-4. It knocks down. The last hit is this, which is a high. Pretty good mid, even though it kind of looks like an overhead at 19 frames. That would be borderline ridiculous for it to be an overhead, so I get that. The first hit, the first 2 hits are -12, so punishable. That first hit's -17 though, so you want to commit to the whole thing. But there's a problem. She may be +4, but flawless block is a thing. Which turns -4, or turns +4 into -6, aka punishable because of the flawless block shenanigans. So don't be throwing this out willy-nilly. This is better as a knockdown. Because if you knock down, you're +40. You got places to be, and you can take care of it that way. Killer Bee is a very interesting string. Comes off of a fairly good low. Kind of hits from about sweep range. Is -11 on its own, and if you commit to the string, you get a pseudo Melina roll. Now here's the thing: if your opponent doesn't anticipate this and you hit this from max range, you can actually use this as a combo starter. See what I mean? So that's just by using this roll as a starter. However, and however, the scaling is really high for that. It already scales pretty high as compared to doing a jump normal. See, that was 20 into 17. Wait. Oh, it's actually less. That's even better. So you can get some decent shenanigans going with this. But this requires incredible spacing and a really good bit of attention to detail. But if you can get that to land, that's actually a half decent. That's actually not a terrible way to try and start a combo, especially in certain variations. If you don't cheat with crushing blows. Lonomia, what is that? They throw out Latin every once in a while, and it gets me curious. So, really quickly, I'm just going to look up Lonomia. Is a species of silkworm. Cute. It's the genus of silkworms. Interesting name. Comes off the high and then goes low. Oh, I forgot to mention, the full thing for Killer Bee is hella unsafe. Like, -8, so easily punishable. And if you flawless block this, still -8, but it's flawless blockable across the board. And just this poke is minus 11, so paradoxically you almost want to commit to the whole thing, so... But again, you're minus 8 anyway, so I wouldn't just throw this out willy-nilly. Lunomi is interesting because it goes high-low, 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 on your ass you go. But if you commit to the whole thing, you're neutral. You completely reset the neutral, essentially. Yeah, so Lunomi is a kind of moth. I wonder how big they get. Because they say giant, but that's a relative thing for bugs. Hang on, we're not here for a science lesson. Let's proceed. Fireflies. Ugh. Damn you, Owl City. There we go. Infested. Oh, that's really good. I forgot about that. And then we're saving that for another variation. Swarm and Catapo Rush. It used to be Ovipositor Rush, but I guess they went for a different thing. Which I will look up when we get to that move. But right now, Fireflies. Basic projectile. Comes towards the opponent, does decent damage, and has a bit of a floaty arc. I believe at any point you can duck this. I'm gonna have Aaron Black duck this just to be sure. I said duck this. Thank you. Yeah, so at any point you can duck this despite the funky fluttering trajectory, but it's not the greatest projectile in the world. It's one of the slowest, actually. Like, it takes over a second. Like, I can see my recovery frames before this thing hits from full speed. Like, I can throw this out, then block before it hits. So, not the fastest in the game. But, you throw a second one out, then it becomes nasty. Then it becomes oh so nasty. At close range, I wouldn't throw this out close range, but in case you did, it's minus 19. You're gonna, Aaron Black's gonna eat your lunch. So, now if you amplified it is minus 9, however, you gotta be careful because if he blocks us, he could just neutral duck and then hit you with the down 4 or something. Next is Ground Swarm. This is one of Devora's signature attacks. It's almost useless without meter. Look at that, 84 frames. I think only Shao Kahn's taunts are slower than this. At least it's consistent, and then you can kind of track the opponent with this, even though, yeah, at very, very full screen, this doesn't hit even on very far. However, what this is good for is on Amplify, you launch. So, look at all that, look at that. It becomes a natural combo extender. So, see? Decent damage. I mean, I wouldn't spend the bar for 23%, but you could definitely get stuff done and then potentially set up another ground swarm. Infested! Oh boy, here we go. This is an anti-air grab. Grab the opponent, stab them, and knock them down plus 11. On Amplify, you chuck them back, and then they take damage over time because of the babies. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing real quick before we get too crazy. Ground Swarm on block is so slow that auto doesn't really register. Unless... yeah, even if I combo into it, it doesn't really register, so I have to set it to all. Is plus 36 on hit. But again, it's so damn slow that if I were to flip the script, I could do this. Look at that. Like, it came out of her in 14 frames, but when it bubbles to the surface, it takes 84 frames. So I can punish her for this. Like, easy as pie, which is a bit unfortunate, but what can you do? So don't throw it out in the neutral, that's what you do. Infested is unblockable, but because it can only hit jumping opponents, that makes sense. However, if the opponent were to try for a jumping attack, which they won't just for the purpose of it, which they won't in this case, but if they try a jumping attack and you punish it, crushing blow. And And you might think, oh, I get damage over time for free. No. It's not that simple. You get this, it's a combo starter. Because she's plus 40. Watch this. Did you see that? I comboed off of this crushing blow. And because the babies are coming out, the poor Aaron Black here is still taking damage over time. This is one of the scariest crushing blows, and for the longest time I didn't know about this. Because I don't play Devorah. But look at that. Look at that. 1 bar, 1 crushing blow, over 3/8 of the health. That's definitely not bad. And then there is Swarm. I have it set to all when it's supposed to be auto. Anyway. This is just a restand. Doesn't catch off of that, so you might want to try for something a little bit different like this. That's why a lot of people go for this instead of the boot, because the boot puts them too far outside of one particular variation. But you can reset the situation with Swarm. Put them grounded, she's plus 4, they can't do anything, and they just took a decent chunk of damage. And in a certain variation, that becomes scary. However, it's not just that they have to watch out for. Watch this. It breaks armor and leaves her more plus if it catches an opponent breaking armor. As in, Fatal Blow armor. This is actually a pretty decent armor break, because sure, you're not getting anything out of it, but you get a little more damage, you reset the neutral, and Amplify Swarm is bigger, so look at that, 241, and if we do it without, it's 238, so it does that little bit extra damage as well. So on the surface it might not look great, but remember, she becomes plus 9. And in a certain variation, this becomes devastating, especially if she amplifies Swarm. Katipo Rush, which I'm going to look that up real quick, is Spider. Is a New Zealand spider related to the Australian redback and North American black widow. Huh. No wonder it's called. No wonder she gets this name. Anyways, Catapult Rush. Stab him. This is not the greatest ender in the world, but it's there. She kind of has to have this now. It's minus 15, and on Amplify becomes minus 4. And the thing is too is that there's no flawless blockable gap in there. But if you flawless block the first hit, you will be able to kind of get an invincible attack in there to get her to stop stabbing you with these things. Now let's talk about Variation 1, Buzz, and what it brings to the table. 3 new strings, a new aerial special, and a setup tool. Parasite is an alternate ender off of this string. Off of, I believe it's called Bedbug? No, Black Widow. So it's off of, this part is called Yellow Jacket technically, so Yellow Jacket and a Parasite, Boot, and if this is a counter or a punish, Boot, Crushing Blow. So what you would do in this variation is that, let's suppose that Aaron Black does what he do and jumps in. Then you do this. If I didn't suck. But you can absolutely catch them with that. And then you would be doing decent damage. Get this land. Make myself not look like a total idiot with Devorah. Ah! It's tricky because she doesn't throw her overpositors up as high as you'd expect. Hey. Asshole, you weren't supposed to block that. There it is. See, and decent damage. You're not going to get a crushing blow off of that because, remember, you have to counter or punish. But, you space this out, you can kind of juggle into it, but I wouldn't recommend it. This would just be a catch if they do something unsafe. Because this is a 7-frame jab. So if they're -8, you catch them with this, say hello to almost 30%. Not bad at all. Recluse is interesting because it comes off of the 422, which is called Siafu. Okay, what the hell is Siafu? I believe those are driver ants. Yes, they are. I remember now. Yes. So let's take stock into what. Maybe at the end of this video, I'll take stock into exactly what the hell some of these things are, because they're fucking scary for bugs. Anyhow, Recluse comes off of Siafu, and like Parasite, it doesn't exactly have the greatest range on its own. Oh, I actually forgot to do this. The Parasite Ender is -9 with next to no pushback, so potentially punishable. And on Flawless Block, there's no Flawless Block hold gap, so that's okay. I mean, if your opponent's really good on the Flawless Block, you're -9 regardless, so it's not that great, that's what I'm trying to say. Anyways, Recluse does have a crushing blow. It's a DOT crushing blow, so it's actually pretty damn scary, especially if they decide it's a good idea to try and jump attack you, and then you catch them with Infested. But the requirement is that the final hit has to hit the opponent on its own. So you can't combo into this, unfortunately. But it's not a terrible one, because the opponent is scared of that range, and then all of a sudden they get the spikes in their back. However, here's the thing. -17 with next to no pushback, i.e. you're going to get hurt for this. And then there's Tsitsi, which is a parasitic fly. If the opponent blocks late on the last hit, I hate that this is the requirement. The opponent blocks late on the last hit, meaning they have to fail a flawless block attempt, which almost never happens. Anyway, I think this has to do it on its own too. So there's 160, same basic idea. You get the crushing blow, that way you get damage over time. Get a little bit of distance. Yeah, you see, here's the big problem I have with this. There's another issue I have where even though this is technically an overhead, it sometimes just straight up misses. Like, watch this. Like, let's say they're ducking, and we'll set it to stance hold. Look at that! I jumped over Aaron Black. I jumped over Aaron Black trying to stab him with this. And yes, if you space it out correctly, that's not a problem. But the fact that this is even possible at all is almost comically sad. And what's more, the overhead is -2, but it's 26 frames. So the only reason why this would possibly happen is, first off, I'm going to get Aaron Black to stop ducking for a second, is that they fail a flawless block. That's the only reason why that crushing blow that we saw, that's the only way that could even possibly come out. Otherwise, you're never going to see it, which is a shame. CC really should have been a counter or punish, or at the very least, make this one the last hit one, because CC has really good range. Look at that, it's full screen. Make that be the one that's the last hit, has to be the one that connects, and then maybe have Recluse also be a counter or punish. And there's good ideas here with the crushing blows, and these strings are cool, but the only one that's worth trying for is Parasite. Recluse, if you're feeling daring, sure, but that requires you to be daring with Devora, which is probably not something you want to do. Next is air ticking time bug. Spit out a baby. Acts as a mid. The whole time this bug is up, it's something that can hit the opponent. But, look at that. 95 frames. After 9 frames. Hang on. Okay, I can do it from a short hop, but it's still 9 frames. But this is the stupid thing, right? So that whole time it's a bug, it's active, but who is going to be dumb enough to be hit by a 95 frame move? Let's be honest here. And even the amplify is silly because it kind of just turns into a very shitty version of I want to say Cyber Sub-Zero and MK9 where he threw out the 3 bombs on amplify. This is not a great attack. It's maybe if the opponent's asleep at the wheel and doesn't see it coming, maybe, but I don't know, man. This move seems really weird. And then there's Strepsitera, which is a group of winged insects. They're endoparasites of bees, wasps, cockroaches, and silverflies. Oh. And apparently they dissolve their mother, they eat their mother from the inside out. These things are nasty. Anyway, Strepsitera, poopy bug. Kind of makes sense now that we have that context why this bug leaps out of him and then the bug dies. Amplify it, get 3 bugs. Seems like it wouldn't actually be a bad thing for startup, right? Because you do this. But there's a problem there. First bug doesn't reach. And even then, like half screen is kind of as far as they go. So, not great, but what can you do? This variation's all about just being eh. It's the first variation of Devora, so you think you'd want to throw out these strings. It's, I guess, as traditional as Devora gets, but all of the equipped attacks are nonsense, like air ticking time bug, Strepsitera. Strepsitera at least has a little bit of like startup potential, but I don't know, like the best part of this variation is equipped are the new strings, and that's basically it. Time to move on to the next variation. Arachnophobia. Twisted wing insects. They've really been around since the mid-Cretaceous? Sorry. I got sidetracked by looking stuff up. Hey! Variation 2! This is the one! This is the variation that a lot of Devoras pick, which is funny because I don't think I've ever fought a Devora online, which is a little bit sad. I've legit never seen Devora online, so this is all kinds of uncharted territory for me. But, Deadly Swarm. Each projectile you throw out attaches a bug, and you can call it back for unblockable damage. It says mid, but read that as unblockable. The Swarm also transfers 1 bug at a time, but on Amplify, it transfers all of the bugs. And because Devora has 5 bugs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 15% right there. That was 25%. Granted, it did cost bar to call them back, but still, that's nasty damage. Especially for what it is. And for each wasp that hits, each firefly that hits, a new bug attaches itself to it. And remember what I said earlier about this throw crushing blow? The opponent has to be infested with fireflies, right? So with 1 firefly on, the throw does 290. It does less damage than a standard throw. But every bug you throw on here adds an extra 20 damage to this crushing blow. Look at that. Now it's as good as a normal crushing blow throw. Or, if all of the bugs are on, it's now 370. It's 3/8 of most characters' health, and look at that. Aaron Black's almost halfway dead already. Yikes. And remember, too, Swarm breaks armor, and is universal. So I just transferred a bug onto you that way. So, catch you with that. Oh, you tried to break away? Oh, I'm sorry. You just lost almost 65% of your health for that. Good friggin' luck, chum. If the opponent is not expecting that, oh, it hurts. It hurts. Deadly Swarm is the bee's friggin' knees, I swear. I like Deadly Swarm a lot, but what I really like about Arachnophobia is this. Devora has a teleport called Widow's Kiss. 28 frames, so it's a little bit slower than Scorpions, but it has the benefit of being mid. Now, here's the thing. Why is he not blocking? Oh, that's why. It is minus 19, but again, all teleports are supposed to be punishable. But here's the kooky thing. Devora can delay it. So, she can make it from half a second to a full second, effectively, and then catch the opponent with this mid. And the Amplify window is very generous. See how long I had to amplify? I could do it on hit, or before she stabs it. Devora's plus 90 on Amplify. So, what you can do is a combo like this. If your timing is godlike, you can do this. Look at that. Look at that. 32%. And sure, it costs 2 bar, but I'm not complaining. And I wonder if I can... Yeah, and I can catch this that way. What does more damage? This or this? Yeah, 58-50. So, I do this, then... if I can catch them with Infested, which I don't think I can after a jump punch, but maybe on its own. Okay, without the crushing blow. But yeah, then I can amplify it, get the babies to come out of Errin Black, amplify it, and look at this. Look at that absurdity. This is far and away, I think, Devora's best variation. It has everything she could ever need. She has a reason to throw out her really slow projectiles now, because now if she has some bugs on you, she can... Oh, they are blockable! Oh, they are unblockable. I had no idea. So they are blockable. But still, if Errin Black were to... Here, I'll just set it to... 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. So... Okay, so they can be blocked, but it's still a lot of chip damage. So that is definitely not something to... And then, of course, you do that to get the crushing blow. So you could do something like this. So, again, do your high damage combo. If I didn't forget that it was back forward. Catch him with that. Come on. I know you want this to work. Apologies for this. I am... Far be it from me to call myself a Devora main, so it takes a little while, but... Look at that. In a combo and a throw, he's already at Fatal Blow range. That is obscene. Holy mother of God. And even if you know the opponent is going to be good with the throw text, even with that in mind, you can set the babies on them, keep them busy, keep zoning, keep safe. She can combo off of her projectile, which is ridiculous, and then when you have a bar back, call them back for an unexpected 15%. You know, as you friggin' do. Look at that. Full screen. I caught Errin Black from full screen. Man, Maybe I'm gonna have to do a season of the bug and just play Devora all the time. I think I'm in love with this character. Jesus. Anyways, Variation 3, Creepy Crawler. Creepy Crawler. Oh, okay. So this one's a little bit rough. It's kind of like Variation 1 in that it does have a couple of good things, but Devora kind of gets shafted. So first off, we get Air Flyby. It's not great, but what it is really good at is Devora gets a lot of distance. Even on its own, it's like 2 seconds worth. But the nice thing is that, let's suppose you're in a situation where the opponent is playing hella good keep away, particularly with mid-low-ish low projectiles. Joker, for instance, with his doll, and you see him go for it, and you jump. And then the Joker thinks, oh sweet, this is free real estate, I'm just gonna amplify. Nope. Now you're behind him, he's recovering, and then you can punish. That's what it would be really good for. This would be really good for countering the really insane zoning shenanigans that some characters have. Like, you see Cetrion go for the boulder or the earthquake, just fly over it. And because of the nature of this attack, you can use jumping attacks out of it. So you can do this. If I didn't suck, you can do something like this. See? And combo the opponent for trying to zone you out. So it's like a worse version of the teleport, but at the same time, it doesn't cost bar to combo. So it has a very slight advantage over the teleport, but it's not the greatest. It's like a weaker version of the teleport. So it's good, but the teleport is better. Then we have Bombardier Beetle. Not as good as it used to be, because it's just hop of the opponent and explode for 80 damage. And kind of slow. But if you do this, and the opponent is, say, not expecting it, then you can do the Amplify version. Turning it into a low. I think it's a true low anyway. Moves just as fast as her mama, which means that she can walk forward with the bug, and then scare them with the threat of the overhead. Potentially, you could do this, dash in with the overhead, and have the opponent get hit with the low. Because they're like, oh god, that's an overhead! Oh wait, it's a low! Ah! Speaking of those shenanigans, though, we have Flippin' Out, which replaces Captio Rush. It's double overhead, floors the opponent, and leaves the opponent at, leaves Devora plus 29. And she can even do it after aerial things like Air Flyby, which is not bad. Oh, by the way, the Beetle is... Stop doing that. Oh, it starts low, and then when it jumps at the opponent... Okay, I see what's going on here. So I'm just gonna have to have him do all then. So yeah, technically plus 48, but I think that's a bit of a lie. It really depends on how they're hit. I think it's really something else. So let's treat it as a projectile instead. See how it says like it's plus 124? That's because it's based off of after startup. Plus 35, that doesn't make any sense. You know, it's one of those rougher ones where it's hard to judge, but I wouldn't be surprised if Devora was actually not plus 35. So the best way to find out would be... do that. Yeah, see, it's only plus because she can do it alongside. But if Devora does this and then tries to combo off of it, so it is quite plus. I'm genuinely surprised by that. Anyhow, back to flipping out. Minus 22. Hella unsafe. Even if you do the jump version. because even if you do the jump version, look at that. It's no bueno. This has a crushing blow, but it's just a little bit rough. You have to land this twice in a row. Granted, you can combo into it, but remember, you have to land this twice in a row. And you don't get a whole lot in the way of a pop-up, so you get 48 frames to try and combo. But look at this range. So you're not going to get an amazing super conversion off of this. But, I mean, you're going to get something at least, so flipping out isn't terrible. I feel like Creepy Crawler is a good compromise between Buzzed and Arachnophobia. Like, Arachnophobia is great, Buzzed is eh, and Creepy Crawler is okay. There's things to like about this variation, and clever players are going to find utility for things like Flyby, Flipping Out, and Bombardier Beetle. But it's not as straightforward good as Arachnophobia is. So, with that being said, let's talk about her Fatal Blow. Bugging Out, which I think is actually the name of one of the strings, or... Yeah, Bugging Out. So, Bugging Out is the same name as this. Anyways, so Bugging Out, I forgot I have to be at Fatal Blow range for that, is a fast mate. It's 13 frames. So it's as fast as Scarlet or Baraka's. It's fast, covers decent range, and acts as a pretty good combo ender. However, on block, even with maximum pushback and the maximum range, Devora's minus 23. And here's the thing. If I had Aaron Black do this, and let's say reversal ghost coins, anybody with a really fast fatal blow like Aaron Black's or a fast projectile can punish Devora. So you need to be careful with that. Don't throw this out willy-nilly, otherwise Devora is going to get eaten for breakfast. So what you could do instead is what you can use this for instead is use it for combo extensions. I.e., let's suppose, I need health. That's what I need. You could do something like this instead. It's a little bit tricky to land. Come on, I know this works. Might be better if I did, yeah, you know what? It might be better if I did, the easier version, which is the stab. So, I'm gonna go in here, or it was in here, to jump forward. Catch him with this. Do this. Do standing 4 again, and look at the damage that Devora gets out of this. Look at this. Devora breaks 60%. No friggin' problem for that. And of course, if you're a god at this kind of thing. Hang on. Wait a minute. It's tricky because her uppercut doesn't really allow for a whole lot in the way of combo extensions. But, yeah, so you just catch him with this. Catch him with this. And then you can potentially catch him with that Fatal Blow. I think that should have caught, but regardless, you get stupid good damage off of the Fatal Blow in Arachnophobia. So that's probably gonna be a big attraction to some of you folks, but Creepy Crawler has its benefits too in counter zoning. And Buzzed, give it a try, see if you can make it work. I'd be amazed if you could, but Buzzed has its risks. But overall, that is Devora. Hopefully this makes some of you actually kind of like the Bug Woman instead of being horrified by her. Don't forget to be awesome, and I'll see you guys on the other side.